You know, understand? A woman independence, the freedom of a woman, the independence of a woman is a threat to your leadership. That's the way they say, because she's my partner, your wife is not equal to you. Where in a place where everybody they see themselves as equal, leadership nothing take place. Your wife is under you. Now you be the head, you are above your wife. Not let anybody tell you say she's your wife, so una two become one, so therefore una two.
This is the mindset of an average Nigerian man. This is the mindset of an average African man. Majority of them think this way. They have this mindset of ownership. They believe they own women. They see women as properties. Once they get married to a woman, they believe she becomes their property, even when they didn't pay much bride price. No matter how little the bride price they paid was, to them, they feel like that alone signifies trade. The woman has been sold, even if it was just one live chicken that was given as bride price. So they become so territorial. They feel like it is their right to dominate and control the woman that they cannot create. He went on to talk about opening a business. As a husband, if you've decided to open up a business for your woman, you should never do that in her name. He first of all said never do that, but if you decide to do that, make sure that business is in your name, under your supervision, and make sure that the bank account attached to that business should be yours. A woman is not your equal. A woman's independence is a threat to a man and the man controlling that woman. His statement says it all. Why modern men are angry, why they are unsettled when it comes to women gaining independence, why they cannot handle it, because it's total loss of control at their end.
Any girl that is above 40, 45, maybe close to 50, who is not married, 90% is not Satan. Number one problem, over selection. Overrating herself. How can you be 45 years, somebody is being friendly to you, you are not picking calls? Not in all cases, but majority. When a woman has passed 40, 45, check, there is something. There is something. I met one in Lagos, about 44, a widower, somebody who the wife died, is begging her for marriage. She said no. What's your reason? Say it's too short at 45.
Abrahamic religion has done more harm in Africa than good. You see, these pastors stand on their pulpit and they preach their patriarchal, toxic talking points. So if a woman is 40 and above, she does not have the right to have standards.
The goalpost has been shifted. It's no longer 30 years. It's now 40 years. Because a woman is 40 years and above, she shouldn't have standards anymore. She should accept every and anything that comes to her in the name of a man. She should reduce herself and accept anybody because she wants to get married. Who told him that everyone is interested in getting married? Must everything be about man and woman marriage? Can't a woman exist on her own without them bringing a man into the equation? Who told him that every woman is interested in getting married? That is how they get on the pulpit and brainwash their church members. To them, it's business. It's business. While they are there making their money, they're also there destroying the society, selling wrong narratives, supporting the patriarchal narrative. Women, we have to be very careful, especially those religious ones.
Any religion, system, or way of being that does not honor the feminine is not beneficial to the earth or to humanity. Because through the womb of the woman, life and souls enter this earth dimension. The woman is the portal between the seen and the unseen, between spirit and matter. To dishonor her, to erase her, is the disconnection from source itself. And that's exactly what Abrahamic religions have done. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they've all been built on patriarchal foundations. God is only He. The divine feminine is missing. There's no goddess, no sacred womb, no mother. And this isn't just spiritual erasure. It's psychological programming. It shapes how people treat women. It shapes how we treat the earth. When you remove the feminine from your religion, you remove the sacredness of the earth, and the earth becomes something to conquer, own, and exploit, instead of something to honor, nurture, and live in harmony with. That's how colonization happened. Missionaries didn't just preach. They erased indigenous wisdom. They burned sacred texts, banned ceremonies, and told people that their ancestral ways were demonic. And then they pillaged the earth, mining, deforesting, poisoning with no reverence, because there was no mother in their theology. No love, no heart, no space for the intuitive connection to source and all that is. But long before this, our ancestors knew the truth. The feminine and the masculine must be in balance. In African spirituality and indigenous traditions worldwide, the mother was central. The goddess, the earth, the womb, the waters. It's time to remember earth-based spirituality. Systems that honor the rhythms of nature, the wisdom of the womb, and the sacredness of both the feminine and the masculine. The healing of humanity begins with the reverence of the mother. When we honor the woman, we honor life. When we return to the earth, we return to ourselves. And it's time to come home, to the heart, to the womb, to our full power and divine harmony and balance.
Men didn't decide who ruled African kingdoms. Women did, for centuries. Wow. They told us kings ruled, men built empires, and women stood behind them. But that was never true in Africa. I'm going to tell you where power flowed from the mother, who made the rules, and how this system shaped the African continent long before Europe arrived. Pay attention. Across ancient Africa, many kingdoms weren't patrilineal, they were matrilineal, where inheritance passed through the mother's line. In the Akan Empire, a king's son never became king, his sister's son did. In Congo and Zambia, the next ruler was chosen through the queen mother's bloodline. Among the Tuareg, women owned land, named the clan, and preserved the oral history. The crazy thing is this wasn't rare in Africa, and it wasn't just bloodlines, it was power. Queen Amina led armies. Queen Nzinga negotiated peace and war with empires. The Candaces of Kush ruled as sovereigns, sometimes leading while their sons fought beside them. What a Western world would call unusual, Africa called balance, where women didn't just raise kings, they birthed them.
In a video I made in the past, a couple of days back, I spoke about how this world is all about dominance, control, colonization, people conquering people, nations conquering nations, men controlling and dominating women. If you can take it back to how this world started, which I know is difficult to backdate it to that time, if you can take it back to history, things were not this way. Men are greedy. Men don't like peace. Men naturally feel intimidated by women. Men are jealous creatures. I'm not saying women are not jealous, but men are more jealous than women are. I know someone can argue and say that no, women are more jealous. Women don't like to see their fellow women succeed and all that. That happens, and the reason why we can easily notice that amongst women is because women are more expressive. A man can hate you, but you will never see it, because men are good at masking their emotion. They are not good at expressing it. Men have this quest to conquer, to always conquer, to always control. This explains why those toxic masculine men are always thirsty, always hungry to conquer women. They see women as a conquest. They are happy using and dumping women. They are happy sleeping with as many women as possible, because to them that is a mission they are accomplishing. Patriarchy is chaos, is violence. They understand fight, war. In the world we live in, some countries are constantly at war with their neighboring countries because men want to always dominate. They want to forcefully control, and this is exactly what we are seeing in some relationships. It's very common in relationships. Men want to always conquer women. They see women as the weaker vessel they've conquered. They always want to subjugate or subdue us. It is in their nature that was created by the patriarchy system. I know some people still argue and say that is how men are because of some hormones they have in them. That I really cannot prove, but one thing that is certain is this: the system enhances that behavior if they really had it in them. If it's innate, if it's inborn, the system enhances it and encourages it. I'm speaking of the system because that is what is obvious. That is what I see. That's the pattern I can recognize. But if you ask me if they were born that way, that I really cannot tell you. There's a possibility, but I really cannot tell you that. But I believe if they take that system away, that toxic system away that encourages such behavior, men will act better. The question we should be asking is this: were the Europeans the ones that manufactured patriarchy, and were they the ones that introduced it to other societies, the societies they colonized? Because that is what a lot of people are saying, that Africa wasn't as bad as it is when it comes to how they treat women. Women were the ones leading. Some people also argue that patriarchy existed in Africa pre-colonialism. Before colonization happened, the big question now should be, how did men take over? How did men start ruling? How did men subdue women? How did that come about? We all should go study. We all should go read. We all should dig deep and understand what is going on in this world.
The men control what you think you should look like. The men control what you think you should feel like. The men control what you think. Men control the politics you care about. The men control all the money. The men control your own body. The men control the religions that you follow, therefore losing your own spirit and direction. The men have also divided you into subcategories of races. The men control the narrative in schools. The men control what you know about history. The men control the rules. The men control what you should think about sex. The men control what you should think about medicine. The men control everything. That is why you need to decide what you believe in, what you follow, what you listen to, what you learn. Because otherwise, you will hate yourself and you will hate other women. Naturally, the men hate themselves, so they hate other men and they hate other women. That is why we are here where we are today. To put it gently. Have no power unless they have resources, and they especially don't have power over women if they don't have resources, and they know this, okay? This is how they've been programmed for thousands of years. This is why they also started hoarding resources from women, blocking us from owning property, blocking us from working, going to school, because they saw that if they were the middle man, then women had zero choice and had to go to men for these things. Women had to get married, okay? Women had to make children because there was no other way to survive. And there was some outliers, right? Even if you look at the witch hunts, the outliers, the women who are making money, being herbalists, being midwives, they didn't like that because now it was women getting access to resources without the middleman. Y'all see why it's called that, right? So men know that if they have power and control, they can get the women that they want, right? But it is not out of love. Again, it is about control. It's always been about control. Love does not exist. Love does not exist. Love has never existed. It has always been about controlling women. And even when they get to the top spots, right, they end up controlling women. All right. We can see this with Diddy. He wasn't doing what he was doing because he was in love. He was doing what he was doing because he can't be satisfied with anything. It's all about ego. It's all about greed, and nothing will fix that void for him. Not even women, not even the men he was hiring, because there's an empty hole inside of him. Even with this whole DL topic also kind of going viral, a lot of men are not satisfied with women, and that is okay. But what men do is they stomp on women. They use women as like a cover up, because Diddy has had a lot of interesting situations that he has had with men. Okay. I think even 112 did an interview, basically any boy group that Diddy was working with, right? So there's levels to Diddy's behavior, but at the end of the day, it was all about ego. It was all about control. It's all about being on top, and it was never going to end. There's nothing that could fill that for him. It is a bottomless pit. This is why men also end up doing really horrific things, because nothing can fill the void for them, because the void is fucking empty. It's fucking bottomless, okay? When they say they are never satisfied, believe them. If you guys have heard the alpha males use the never satisfied phrase, take that shit seriously, because men are never satisfied. They will have a 10 out of 10. They will be rich. They will have success, and they will still never be satisfied. We could see that in Diddy. We could see that in every powerful position. It doesn't even matter how powerful they are. It just depends that they are on top of some group of people, okay? This is the reason why we are where we are in society, because this didn't start with white men. This didn't start with religions. This started with men not being satisfied. The male ego and the urge to use violence to get what they want. This is the beginning of patriarchy. Why we have every war that we have. This is why we have all the issues that we have. It is the male ego that cannot be satisfied.
When you understand the nature of someone, I keep using the word nature. It's like I'm contradicting myself. I use the word nature because it's difficult to tell if that is how they were born because of how the society is structured. I don't know if men are inherently this way. Maybe the ego is the problem. The ego brings the greed, and they will always blame the testosterone hormone for their inflated ego, for their ego issues, their ego problem. So it's difficult to tell if the nature, the hormone is the reason for all this chaos, or the patriarchal system, or they are working hand in hand. I believe it is intertwined. I believe that the hormone led to them creating the system. They have that in them partly, but the system, the patriarchal system, enhanced it, made it worse, made it more obvious, encouraged it, elaborated on it, expanded it. So understanding the nature of a man as a woman will make it easier for women to deal with men, do business with men, live with men, marry men. It will make it easier for us to live with them, because if you don't understand them and how they view us and how they view the world, you will forever remain a servant to them. You will forever remain under their control, because that is what they want. But if you know the game, you will beat them at it.
As a Middle Eastern Arab woman, I'm convinced that 95% of the reason why we are so heavily shamed in society is to protect men's egos and their insecurities and their fear of being rejected or insulted, or made fun of by other men.
This video is a great example of two things. The domestic labor that a lot of women and moms and wives end up doing by default because not enough good conversations are being had together around minimum standard of care. And although it doesn't depict this, the potential emotional labor of trying to get many husbands to do those things and the cultural norm being that they're helping her by doing things. Second piece here, actually, they're talking about Time to Lean pod recently. A couple was talking about, oh, how's the planning for the wedding going? And the guy said, oh, I already did the hard part. I proposed. And I think so much of our culture has trained us men to think getting the girl is the hard part. Like a sales team of a company that is just obsessed with getting the new clients and not continuously improving so that they keep their long-term clients. We were trained as young men in incel culture that the hard part is getting the girl. Even in that phrase, getting the girl, creates this linguistic assumption that that's the final part, not keeping the woman, being the husband that we want to be. Marriage takes an insane amount of emotional labor. So much of it happens during the courting phase. And I know even in myself after we were married, I dropped off on my emotional labor. Then saw the impacts of that and came back. Hi, my name's Zach. I'm your invisible labor coach. Hi, Zach. I help men and couples do this work by implementing the Fair Play method.
Please let me know what you think about this video in the comments section. It's important for us all to carry out the research. We should read books and gain more knowledge and understand more, know more about how this world is being ruled and what men are all about. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments section. And if you'd love to watch more videos like this, click this video to watch how men make women shrink themselves. They make us shrink ourselves just to boost their ego. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.